This meeting is being recorded.
Hello, I'd like to welcome you all to this webinar and prescription birth filling naturally. My name is Claire Johnston. I'm from Parks Victoria here in Victoria in Australia, if you can't tell by the accent. And I'll be presenting here today with my work colleague, Anthea D, and we're talking about this community's journey into nature and talking about Parks Victoria's health and wellbeing programs.
Thanks, Claire. It's lovely to be here. As Claire mentioned, my name's Anthea D. I'm the Healthy Communities Coordinator at Parks Victoria, and I look forward to talking to you today.
So I've got a slide up there about the focus of the webinar today. We'll firstly talk about social prescribing and a complementary method for improving health outcomes and how Parks Victoria is supporting this in our parks. We will then look at this more deeply in action with a fantastic project here in regional Victoria in Australia, which looks at how engaging the community through co-design project has transformed people's lives and how this is also translated into the health sector embracing green scripts. The session will go for approximately 60 minutes with 40 minutes for presentation and 20 minutes for questions and answers. I'd firstly like to do an acknowledgement of country and acknowledge the traditional custodians of the lands on which we're all meeting today across all our nations, and pay my respects to the elders past, present and emerging. I extend that respect to all First Nations people here today and would like to particularly acknowledge the Gunnakurno people whose land I am meeting on today to speak with you. Oops. First, an introduction to Parks Victoria, just to set the scene. We're a statutory authority here in Victoria, in Australia, and we're responsible for managing, as well as increasingly jointly managing with traditional owners, a diverse estate of more than 4 million hectares, including 3,000 land and marine parks and reserves, making up about 18% of Victoria's land mass. It also includes 75% of Victoria's wetlands and 70% of Victoria's coastline. Victoria has 45 terrestrial national parks and 24 marine parks and sanctuaries. Parks Victoria recognises the value and importance of working in partnership with traditional owners to manage parks and reserves in a culturally sensitive and ecologically appropriate way. It is our primary responsibility to ensure parks are healthy and resilient for current and future generations. This cultural landscape attracts more than 100 million visits each year, contributes to the national objective of building a comprehensive, adequate, representative system of reserves, and provides critical environmental services. It also allows people to connect with the natural wonders of Victoria. I will now pass on to my work colleague, Anthea, who's going to continue on Healthy Parks, Healthy People. Thanks, Anthea.
Thanks, Claire. Healthy Parks, Healthy People has been a part of Parks Victoria's philosophy for over 2 decades, and many of you have probably heard about this over the years. Through policy, communications, partnerships and programs, we are seeking to encourage people to connect with nature to improve their health and well-being, and in doing so, people then have a greater appreciation of and connection to our parks. Slide please, Claire. And through this connection, we hope to create more active supporters and stewards to help us protect our precious landscapes, wildlife and cultural heritage. Next slide, please. In the last couple of decades, there's been a shift in understanding how important nature and green spaces are for our mind, body and soul. The body of evidence for the connection between healthy environments and positive community health has been well documented and has grown exponentially over the last decade. There is robust evidence that time spent in nature lowers blood pressure and heart rate, decreases stress and anxiety, and improves mood, cognitive function, immune system functioning and more. Simply viewing natural scenes has a positive impact on well-being. There's also good evidence that if we spend regular time in nature from an early age, our behaviours are more likely to be environmentally positive too. Over the last couple of years, we've all no doubt seen the huge numbers of people converging on parks for their daily exercise or just to breathe some fresh air and take in the surrounds to support their mental health. This pandemic has highlighted that parks are essential assets that provide a huge array of health and wellbeing benefits to the community, in addition to their environmental and cultural value. So people gain physical and mental health benefits from their everyday use of parks through the incredibly diverse recreation, such as bike riding and walking, through volunteering, and from learning activities. 2 education programs that connect children to nature that we have in Victoria are Bush Kinder, which is an early childhood education program delivered in a natural setting, and Parks Victoria's Junior Ranger program, which provides fun park ranger-led activities for children aged 6 to 12 and their families during school holidays. Next slide, please. And while everyday contact with nature is the most obvious way parks contribute to public health, more and more, nature is being considered as an important preventative and therapeutic setting to reduce the risk of chronic disease and to assist in rehabilitation of physical and mental health. In fact, many health professionals are now prescribing time in nature to support patient health and wellbeing. These green or nature prescriptions are a type of what's being termed around the world as social prescribing. Next slide, please. So what is social prescribing? Social prescribing is a person-centred mechanism for linking people from primary care, social care, or other referral routes to the community and voluntary sector to support their health and wellbeing. Basically, it's a means of enabling general practitioners, nurses, and other primary care professionals to refer people to a range of local, non-clinical services. These services could include art and craft groups, dance, Tai Chi, community gardening, volunteering, walking groups, and more. Social prescribing can help people who are feeling lonely or overwhelmed with life's demands, finding it hard to exercise, wanting to connect with people with similar interests. But social prescribing is not intended to be a crisis response for individuals with acute needs. So social prescribing emerges from the recognition that some physical and mental health problems are linked to social conditions and may be better addressed by social rather than medical intervention. It can address key risk factors for poor health, including social isolation, multimorbidity, and mental health problems. These factors are often associated with low engagement in preventative activities and low levels of self-management for medical conditions. And with estimates suggesting that approximately 20% of patients consult their GP for what are primarily social problems, the flow-on effect of social prescribing is likely to be a reduced reliance on primary health services and improved health outcomes. Next slide, please, Claire. So, who is social prescribing for? Social prescribing may be helpful for a broad range of people, including those listed on the screen, but not limited to those. So people experiencing mental health challenges, people with chronic physical conditions, people experiencing social isolation, including young people, and children in the first 1,000 days of life and their carers, as well as older people. Next slide, please, Claire. A green or nature prescription is just a social prescription that has exposure to nature at its core. So it is specifically a nature-based intervention to promote health and wellbeing, and it could occur in a natural or a developed green space. Next slide, please. These prescriptions can include community-based outdoor activities such as wilderness and adventure therapies, therapeutic horticulture, biodiversity conservation, care farming, nature walks, and social activities in green space. A key feature is that each program can potentially provide multiple physical, mental, and/or social health benefits. For example, a walking prescription in nature can promote physical activity while also providing mental wellbeing benefits, as well as the social connections that may be formed during group activities. Social and green prescribing is well established in the United Kingdom, Canada, and New Zealand, with the United Kingdom alone expecting 900,000 people to be referred into social prescribing by 2023-24. And it can provide a valuable addition to the existing range of healthcare options here in Australia. While the adoption of social and green prescribing as an organised program of support has been limited here to date, this seems to be changing. The recently released Australian Primary Healthcare 10-year plan states that social prescribing will have a formal place in Australian general practice, recognising that it seeks to address people's needs in a holistic way and aims to support individuals to take greater control of their own health. Over the next 3 years, a series of social prescribing trials will be implemented around the state as an outcome of the Mental Health Royal Commission to support the mental health of Victorians. And we're also seeing many health practitioners in Victoria beginning to prescribe outdoor activity to their clients, such as participation in green exercise events, including parkrun. I'll now hand the presentation over to Claire to showcase a project where co-designing a park with the community and engaging with the health sector has led to the building of a dementia-friendly forest sensory trail and the park being used to support green prescriptions. Thanks, Claire.
Thanks, Anthea. The park that we're focusing on the webinar today is called Warcraft Regional Park, and it is the Wadawurrung First Nation people's name for a place of plenty. The name reflects the traditional use and connection the Wadawurrung people have with the area. And why are we talking about Warcraft today? It was established in 2016 and it represents the community's journey to take an idea for a park and realise the benefits for their community. A park for the people, by the people. Through the tireless work of the Friends of Canadian Corridor, rallying the community together, the creation of Warcraft Regional Park is an important expression of community participation, organisation and strength, and is the result of grassroots community activism over many years. Just to give you a sense of where the park is located, it's about 110 kilometres, which I think is about 70 miles from Melbourne. It's a regional centre. I think I've got a map here. There we go. There's Melbourne in the centre there and Ballarat is there, and that's where the park is located. It's a regional city. It's large for Victoria, 116,000 people, and is expected to grow by about 30,000 people in the next 10 years. The Wadawurrung have continuously occupied the land and cared and sustainably managed country for thousands of years. Post-invasion, the area where Warcraft Regional Park is located was cleared for mining, forestry and commercial timber. However, many in the community found that it was a place that had special values, and the importance of it being saved as a park for recreation and conservation was forefront in their mind. Others in the community found that it was a scary place to be, a place that things happened which you didn't really want to, not encouraging you to get into a park. It is surrounded by housing and close to the centre of town. It's only 4 kilometres from the centre of Ballarat. And when the Friends of Canadian Corridor successfully campaigned and petitioned government to protect the land for a park, originally destined for housing, they knew it was for something special. How do you reimagine a park? We went to the community and we said to them, we have a park, which is, as you can see from the picture, it was made up of different parcels of land. And we had to turn this into a park which worked as a whole park rather than being, forestry lots. And how do you take all the different activities that were going on here and make them work too in this place? We were changing how this park would be used from being focused around, resource removal to a park which was used for recreation, for conservation, for protection of cultural heritage. And how do we do that? We work with the community. Which we all do. It's nothing particularly special, but I think with this, we talked a lot. We did lots of workshops with the community. We developed the vision and guiding principles, and we had a community reference group, which was really important for this. So we had members of the Wadawurrung peoples on there. Uncle Brian was there. We had members from the Department of Health and Human Services, Friends of Canadian Corridor, and there were 2 other community representatives too, so that we had a broad a number of people across that project. And I was really keen to keep checking in with these groups. I think the first time that I went and sat with the Friends of Canadian Corridor, it was really just to listen and understand what they imagined this place, why they would save this place, and to really understand what they thought why this place was important for the community. And I also sat with Uncle Brian and listened to his people's stories too, so that I had a sense of the importance and the respect that's deserving this place. That was very important. I might say that we already do some of this stuff. What's different? Why is listening and understanding something that's different to what we do? I think we were very lucky with this. I'm not sure what happens in other areas, but the government actually signed off this Warcraft strategic directions plan, which really outlined the blueprint for this park. And we also received a significant amount of ongoing funding, which is generally unusual in parks, but that's been really critical. But I think one of the things that was really important was to understand how this park, being so close to the community, could be used to improve the health of our community. We knew that there were some significant issues in Ballarat in terms of health, and to get champions within the community that would share this vision and to push this project forward. And what's different also is probably that we just wanted to really focus on universal design, making things simple. Sorry, I've lost my place. I'll go to the next slide. Apologies. Visualising a healthy Ballarat. This was really important. 2 of the key projects out of this, out of the strategic directions plan, was the development of an actual health activation plan and development of a 10,000 step trail, which included the dementia friendly forest sensory trail. The activation plan was the first for Parks Victoria, and as Anthea described, Parks Victoria has been championing healthy parks, healthy people for over 2 decades. But this was the first time where we actually worked with the health sector to develop a plan for a specific park through partnerships. A key benefit of the plan was that it didn't need to be Parks Victoria driving the plan. It was really for the health sector to identify how they could deliver their health priorities through using this plan. It was really a win-win for everybody. Parks Victoria gave the health sector the platform they needed to collaborate with other health professionals to deliver on improving the health of the community. The 10,000 steps has been the number of steps we should all walk daily. I don't know, I find that difficult to do, but we all try. And this is where the sort of magic really begins. The health activation of the block was developed with local council, health sector agencies and providers, other agencies, interested park neighbours, the traditional owners and those living with health challenges and their carers. The health priorities that were identified in the activation plan, I've just listed them there. There are 4 ones about being active in nature, the building community resilience, inclusion for health and wellbeing, and fostering that cross-generational program development, really form the basis for the dementia-friendly forest sensory trail that I'll go into shortly. the Acknowledgement Plan, the notion of the dementia-friendly forest and sensory trail was formed. It was through the partnership with local communities. They formed a Bigger Hearts Dementia Alliance, which is still going today, and worked with Parks Victoria and embarked on a co-design project with health agencies, community groups such as schools, Parks Friends groups, Compassionate Ballarat and Dementia Australia, and others to support the formal landscape design process to identify features that would cater for people as their dementia journey changed. To help people, all of us really, understand dementia, all staff, all groups, contractors and volunteers have been educated in dementia-friendly principles and undertook training to support inclusive, caring and compassionate community. It was really this compassionate journey. It was really about learning and building and understanding, and it was a really amazing process. I've got a very small picture there which shows the design of the dementia trail. It was really just to give you a sense of the detail that went into that, but key to the work was consistently meeting and talking with people who had early onset dementia and their carers, health professionals who cared for and supported dementia patients, to make sure that we were meeting their expectations. I'd like to say at this point, Anne Tudor, who was the photograph at the beginning of this presentation, it was really her passion that drove the journey with this dementia trail. And for the life of her partner, who unfortunately is no longer with us, she's passed away from dementia, and but she had the compassion to make change, a simple change, to make the lives of people with dementia more fulfilling. And the staff too who worked on this project, they were just incredible and really just saw the vision and the far-reaching benefits that such a project could mean to the community. And also they're a driving force in the change in how a large organisation could meet people's needs. It was really an inspiration to watch. And I think, I was saying earlier that what was different about this project, it was really that we were looking at universal design. So even though we were designing for people with dementia, this was really about designing for all and just considering and understanding what a dementia-friendly forest and sensory trail could be has made an amazing, amazing trail for everybody. Excuse, pressing the wrong button. And there are a number of key opportunities that were highlighted as a part of the design process, and it was really important to understand that that dementia is a degenerative disease, and a person with early onset dementia may be quite capable of walking a reasonable distance, but as the disease progressed, so does their mobility often deteriorate. It was important to have nodes as destinations, such as talking nooks or a place where you could lean back and look up at the sky, and have large paths and, you know, have a picture frame or something just to like a destination. The paths need to be wide enough to at least accommodate 2 wheelchairs, the carers, mobility dogs and families, so it's quite a wide path. And it's also important to really know where you were, and so that at each point it was really important to know where you were and how to get back to, if you want to go back to the car. The setting was really important too, because it was set in bushland, so Australian gum trees, native birds and animals. And it was really about getting this serenity and quiet contemplation and to reconnect people with their past memories, which is really important in dementia, and of walking in Australian bush, remembering stories of past adventures. And it's been built. This was built actually during the COVID pandemic. So what was dreamed about now exists as a newly delivered, well-loved and special place that brings a sense of belonging, increased wellbeing, support and connection with community and nature. The trail development has been a centrepiece for the Bigger Hearts Dementia Alliance, with new innovations such as extension groups, new dementia choir, and support avenues like social scripts program with the Ballarat Health Services. And I just wanted to share with you a video, and I'm sure this will work. We've already tested it, so we think it will work. It just goes for 6 minutes. I just wanted to play this because it really gives you a great insight into dementia, what the importance of this project and what's actually meant to those involved and how important it is to the community. Once we've finished the video, we'll have a look at, we'll continue with this of the green scripts and look how the park is now being used to trial a green scripts project with Bigger Hearts Dementia Alliance, the local university, researchers, general health practitioners. So enjoy the next 6 minutes.
I'd really like to welcome you to Warcraft Regional Park, to our beautiful dementia-friendly forest and sensory trail. We're on country here, and the meaning of Warcraft is place of plenty. It's a place of healing. It's a place of peace. It's a place where you can just be either alone or with friends and relax. And the beauty of this place is being returned, and it is returning to what it would have been like in traditional Wellbeing times. You know, trees were felled to fuel trains from Melbourne to Ballarat, and gold companies came and dug holes and took from the ground. So this place was ravaged and disrespected, and people with dementia are so often disrespected and not seen as full human beings. And by combining a dementia-friendly forest and sensory trail with a place that has been abused and misused, there's a great deal of healing that's going on. And what you get when you come to Warcraft is a sense that this place is now loved and wants to love you in return. It's magical. It is magical.
Hello, I'm Cuban Rogan, the Area 2 Ranger for Ballarat. I welcome you here today to the wonderful dementia-friendly forest and sensory trail. It's designed to look to involve those within the community of Ballarat that may be impacted by living with dementia, their family and their carers, and also the health community, and of course everybody else that lives in Ballarat. We've designed this wonderful trail for help and assistance of those that are living with dementia and our health community, so that we can bring forward features that speak to them the most.
We've been involved with this since really the beginning, and we come out here every now and then because Linus has dementia, and therefore places like this bring serenity. Everyone looks at these places from different perspectives. You need to come out of that environment into something like this, which is just so peaceful, and we just enjoy the beauty of it. You and the life is sweet, never let me go. You have made my life complete, and I say, love you, all my dreams away. Oh my darling, I love you, and I always will. That was one of their songs from
We have two sections to the trail. The first is called the Welcome Wander, and that's been designed for those that may need more assistance to get around the park. It is full of small, gentle inclines, so allows a little bit of challenge, and it also offers places where people can come together or perhaps even separate for their own space and their own time, but also be triggered by opportunities in nature to reflect on their past and their shared times with their families. We have places that are called conversation nooks where you can come together and have a little bit of a discreet conversation, or you might want to come to a place that is the stone circle, which is a bigger welcoming circle for people. And that's so that people in wheelchairs even, or walkers, can come and be involved and have a place to sing, do yoga, or anything else that brings them together as a community. We have other places that we call the lounge lizard, and that's so you can lie back and look at the stars and experience another type of sensory delight in nature. So every time you come, it's going to be different and exciting and full of new wonders of time spent in nature and with your loved ones. And we really can't thank the community of Ballarat enough for all the work and love and support in bringing forward this beautiful trail to Warcraft Regional Park.
I hope you enjoyed that. As noted earlier in the presentation by Anthony, social prescribing, which is where a healthcare worker recommends suitable community activities that could improve the health and well-being of community members, is what I'm just going to talk about now. The Royal Australian College of General Practitioners recommends that social prescribing be incorporated into routine healthcare in Australia. It believes that 7% of general practitioners believe that referring patients to community activities, groups or services help improve health outcomes, but most don't have links to such services. So this Green Scripts project is an initiative of the Bigger Hearts Dementia Alliance in Ballarat and is supported by a Dementia Friendly Community Engagement Grant from Dementia Australia. The goal of the Green Scripts is to connect people impacted by dementia with established and emerging dementia inclusive community activities in Ballarat. And this is achieved via social prescribing, where a healthcare worker recommends suitable community activities that are likely to improve the physical, emotional and social wellbeing of community members living with dementia. The Green Scripts online resources support both primary health care practitioners and community members to locate appropriate activities such as the Dementia Friendly Sensory Trail in Warcraft Regional Park. And this is what the actual website looks like. And I've also added in the Green Scripts and Bigger Hearts websites in case you wanted to have a look at some more information on those things. The centrepiece of the practical application of Green Scripts is the sensory trail. And recent studies have shown the efficacy of exercise in slowing down cognitive and mental decline, providing opportunities for social interaction and reducing the risk of falls by improving strength and balance.
Sorry, Claire, I'm just going to interrupt because we can still see the video. It hasn't moved across to the next slide.
Oh, okay. How do I? Yep. Okay. Can I? Now, is that better?
No, not yet.
Oh. Okay. How do we? Let me have a look at that. Still nothing.
No, still the video.
Okay, so just play. Oops, is it playing on repeat? Is it? Hang on, bear with me. Is that stopped?
No, not yet.
Okay, I might have to stop sharing and come back. Is that probably the best way to
Come
do
back
that?
in? Yeah, I think so.
Sorry about that, people. And I should go back in. Excuse me. How will I do that? Okay, I shall share my screen. Again. Not sure what's going on. Are you seeing anything, Anthea?
I can see that you're sharing your screen, but the screen is just black currently.
Okay. I seem to be having trouble with my presentation. Hang on. We will be back. Just give me one moment. That's when you need lift music. Okay.
Wish I could offer you some suggestions, but
Claire, I can go ahead and share my screen if you want.
Okay, yeah, we might. I'll just try one last thing. Let me just, hold on, where are we? Let me just try share screen. Oh, I think you might need to share your screen there. Victoria, I'm in regional Victoria and sometimes things go wrong. Thank you.
that's great.
Lucky I have my presentation notes. I'll just get my presentation notes up. Just give me 1 second. Okay, so did you hear what I was saying earlier about the green scripts? Or was it, you could hear that? Thanks, Anthea.
Yep.
Very good. So the green scripts, I think you're actually on the next page. Thanks, Victoria. Yeah, so this is the actual Green Scripts website. Yeah, so this really is a great resource for both primary health care people, the community, and also gives people links to the Dementia Friendly Trail, and also there's also program information on there as well. They know that there's social prescribing is a great vehicle to engage with the primary care sector. In the past, it's been very difficult in Australia to link those things, but we're hoping with this, the Green Scripts project and more of these sort of things happening, that we'll see that happen further. Next slide, please. I just wanted to finish off about Warcraft Regional Park, and it's like the next steps. Sorry about the pun there about the 10,000 steps, but the next is actually delivering that final stage of the 10,000 steps. It's really important just to get people out there, and everyone thinks of the 10,000 steps, but all they have, the idea is to provide different loops and journeys for people on this 10,000 step journey. So if you can't quite make it to 10,000 steps, you can at least aim for a, getting as many steps as you can. And it's also will be wide enough for the all-terrain wheelchair. We have a thing called a trail rider, which is supported by, it enables visitors who have mobility restrictions to get around the park as well. But I will now pass on to Anthea. So apologies for the interruption there, but we'll go back into some other prescribing programs that Parks Victoria is involved with. Thanks, Anthea.
Thanks, Claire. Next slide, please, Victoria. So as Claire was saying, I just would like to provide an example of one program that we're implementing at Parks Victoria that has relevance both to everyday park users as well as those seeking a therapeutic nature-based intervention, and that's called the Park Walks program. So Park Walks are easy walks that are guided by trained volunteers. They're free and they run in park locations close to population centres around the state. Walks are offered weekly to encourage people to develop a regular walking habit to support their health and wellbeing goals, whether these are physical, mental or social. Next slide, please, Victoria. So why a walking program? Walking is the most popular activity in parks and one which is generally accessible to most people. Walking has a multitude of benefits for our mental and physical health and wellbeing, and as a weight-bearing form of exercise, it improves strength, flexibility and mobility. It helps regulate blood pressure, blood sugar levels, mood and weight. And while many people do walk for the mental or physical health benefits it provides, social connection is often what keeps them returning to the activity. The program targets people who may be at risk of various chronic health conditions, as well as less active members of the community, new refugees and migrants, and others who have previously not felt safe or skilled enough to walk in parks. By offering a guided group walking program, those who lack confidence or face social, cultural or physical barriers to visiting parks will be supported to participate. However, the program is equally relevant for those who already enjoy walking in parks but just would prefer to do so in a group. It supports people to create those social connections, and we encourage walk leaders to join their group for a coffee or tea after the walk where there's a cafe near the park. So the program aims to be inclusive with many locations suitable for all abilities and tailored all abilities walks in development. Next slide, please, Victoria. We're also trialling some themed walks, including mindfulness walks and forest therapy walks at several locations, and these are proving to be extremely popular. Next slide, please. So the Park Walks program is ideal for green prescribing for both self-referrals and through formal pathways, including GP clinics or community health centres. The development of the program as a social prescribing offer is ongoing and not without challenges. Each park walk location needs to have trained volunteers to deliver the walks before they can be recommended to health professionals. As well as coordinating the walks and volunteers, our role at Parks Victoria is to support the linking or referral process by providing detailed information about each walk to ensure referrals are appropriate to patient needs. We have listed this program along with the Dementia Friendly Forest Trail on a register of social prescribing programs hosted by the Australian Disease Management Authority, and we are promoting park walks through local general practices and community health centres. The program is steadily growing. We've established regular walks at 14 locations to date, with more than 900 participants taking part. Although referral pathways from health practitioners to social prescribing activities are limited at this stage, as Claire mentioned, with social prescribing still being quite new in the Australian healthcare system, we feel confident that this program will support community wellbeing as social prescribing does grow in Australia. Thank you. So thank you for listening. I've included the website there too for more information. Are there any questions?
Doesn't look like it. If anyone does have any questions, you can either contact us through the World Urban Parks through the links that have been sent to you, and we're happy to follow up with providing information or answering some of those questions. So if there are no questions, I'd like to thank you all for participating today, and thank you very much, Anthea. And apologies for the glitch, but yeah, we're coming from Australia, and yeah, things happen. And I'm in regional Victoria, so that's okay. But
Thanks, Claire.
Enjoy
I
the
think there is
rest of. Oh, we do have a question.
We do have a question. Yeah. Sorry, Claire. Thank you.
Thank you. Aha.
I'm happy to read it out, Claire. It might be one for you though. Fantastic hearing about this is from Christine. Fantastic hearing about this great work. Green and social prescriptions are such exponential and life-changing value. The question is about funding. So a similar program, San Francisco Bay Area, now many years on. The program started with similar mix of government funding and as part of an initial and ongoing funding coming from health insurance companies, which was very successful and now ongoing. Do we imagine that these social and green prescription programs using Ballarat as evidence of success to lure and hook in future funding from non-government funding, e.g. health insurance company, businesses and other new partnerships?
Yeah, I think that's yes, yes to that. We've already actually receiving some private funding. So I think through the Bigger Hearts Alliance, through their the Dementia Trail, I believe that they got some money through some car companies. I think Volvo might have been one, and there's a bus company, a local bus company, gave some money towards the Dementia Trail. I do believe that particularly around these sort of dementia-friendly trails, we found that the aged care services were very keen to be part of that. And I think that there'll be yeah, huge opportunities, and I reckon it'd be fantastic if we would be able to link into the health sector, sorry, into the health insurance sector. And yeah, I think it'd be really important. I know, Anthea, have you seen within our other programs whether we're getting that more yeah, private interest in that?
In some areas, as you mentioned with the bus company, Claire, yes, a little bit, but I think it's still a little bit early for us to really be sure whether that will become a viable option for us. It's certainly something that we're keeping our eye on, and it seems like a potentially good fit.
Yeah.
Yes, but at this stage, yeah, I think with social prescribing and some of these things just really starting to get off the ground, I think we're a little too early to really have an answer to that one just yet.
Yeah, I mean, we are, one thing that I'll just say is not necessarily funding, but we're actually getting great buy-in from like local councils in the area, and working with the our transport system. So actually working how to get buses to stop near the park. As being a new park, there didn't used to be a bus stop near there, so I suppose there's other ways of encouraging people to get there. But I think in terms of the funding, yeah, Parks Victoria, probably in other countries, particularly America, it's that philanthropy is a lot stronger. Not so strong here in Australia, but I do think that we'll probably, that's something that we need to work on in the future. And yeah, I think that health insurance would be great if we can get onto that. But it's early days, as Anthea said. Great question, though. Thank you. Are there any more questions? So I can't actually see the questions. I can't see why not.
No, there's no others. So
we are good. Excellent. I'll say good evening. It's quite late here in Melbourne, in Victoria. So, and good morning to the rest of you. Have a lovely day or good afternoon. I think there'll be people from all over the place. But yeah, it's been a pleasure talking with you today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks very much.